Hello all. Well, it looks like we have a little bit of oil news to talk about. Let's go over to the board and look. So what is going on in Arkansas? Well, Arkansas just had a large oil spill, or what ExxonMobil is calling a leak. Now the original leak happened on March 31, 2012 in the town of Mayflower. They were saying that 84 million gallons were spilled. Well, that's not exactly right. Or would you expect anything different? There's got to be newspeak. Over the last couple days, it's been quite apparent that it was much, much more than that. They're not saying how much more. This oil is a different type. It comes from Canada tar sands area. It's so thick and full of sand, it isn't even qualified as oil. They call it bitumen with sand, and they transport it through these pipelines. The pipeline that ruptured was underground, and apparently as it was going around a bend underground, this part of the pipe, of course, would erode right here. And then of course the leak would happen. And it spilled all over the neighborhood, evacuating all the people around there. The unfortunate thing is that they didn't have the equipment available right away because it was not classified as oil. It was classified as sandy. Water with sand and bitumen, because that's basically what tar sands is. It's mostly just sand, water with some oil in it. So this pipe here that burst is 10 times smaller than the XL pipeline. 10 times smaller. Now, the thickness of the walls on the pipe, which are called gauge, and it's the thickness between the outside and the inside. The gauge of the pipe that burst is just slightly smaller than the XL pipeline gauge. In other words, they're almost the same thickness, except there'll be 10 times more oil in the XL pipeline. Oh, everything's okay. It's just a little leak. Drop the pen again. I hope it's okay. Okay, if you go to the Greenpeace website, they have uploaded photos of the oil spill. You can see what it really is like. And one other thing they're telling us is that the thickness of this stuff is the same consistency as chewing gum in hair to remove. So all the animals that are getting coated with this, mostly ducks I guess and birds, are completely entombed in a bubblegum toxic waste, and it just gets thicker and thicker as it cools down, and it's very unfortunate that this happened. Okay, one of the commenters on one of the websites that I got the information from says it right, and I wanted to show you the comment because I think it's what our sentiments are. Yeah, I think people do need to wake up, but I don't think they're going to. I honestly think that the world of texting and gadgeting has outweighed everything else, and people don't really care about any of this anymore. I really get that feeling, and I know that sounds depressing, but it just means that the people that are fighting these pipelines and this oil exploration up in the Arctic and in the deep seas, we've got a lot of work to do to even begin to try and turn this around, huh? One of our commenters on YouTube, his name is Jesus Saves, he asked last week, or last video, has anybody figured out the cost of the friction that is in every single bend of these pipelines? Has any of that been calculated on how to get the oil through these pipelines? Well, the way it works is that about every so often there's a pumping station, which, yes, takes fuel, usually natural gas or diesel, and they literally pump 24/7 the oil from one when the oil comes in, they pump it back out and bring the pressure back up. And these pump stations are all throughout every one of these pipelines. As you know, when you add up all this energy that's used to pump all this oil, you kind of wonder if the end result isn't about the same as going in at the beginning is coming out at the end. In other words, there's nothing coming out at the end in reality, because you've spent it all pushing the oil through the pipeline, if you know what I mean. That's why they keep getting bigger and bigger to make it worth it. Okay, let's go up and see how many barges are in San Francisco Bay, which supplies the oil which is turned into gasoline for southern, central, and northern California and parts of Oregon. Okay guys, there's lots of mist and drizzle and wind, so I'm trying to make this quickly so we don't get water on the camera. There's the next mist coming in. Personally, I don't see any barges in San Francisco Bay. The next story is directly related to barges in the bay. And let's see if there's been some gasoline changes in the prices lately. Cheap gas station, expensive gas station. And what is Brent Crude up to? Can you believe the up and down? Alright, there'll be another video on the monthly Brent Crude, because that's a very interesting graph. So today we started at 107.5, sort of did the dribbles, till we got over here and we went up to 108, and then we fell sharply down to 106 roughly, and then came back up to 107.5 where we were, and then fell all the way down to 105.5, and now we're quickly going up, and we're at 106.1 or something. U.S. oil refineries, the refineries that turn all this oil into gasoline and other products, have requirements determined by the individual state on the air pollution. And the way they control this is by adding ethanol to gasoline, which is clean burning, so that the actual air pollution put out by a vehicle is less. Well, this requirement of ethanol is a good one, except that they're taking it out of our food area. In other words, they're growing corn and sugar beets to produce ethanol to burn, instead of using that ground for food. And the reason that's so important, well, is because we're running out of food, as you know, with the drought and all. Some of the best air pollution control standards are here in California, which means that we get more ethanol than anybody else, and that's why we need special refineries. Some refineries, like in the Midwest, don't need as much ethanol, or don't require as much, and so they're not hurting as much. But the East Coast and the West Coast are really in trouble now, and they are expecting shortages soon, which will cause steep price rises. Alright, it's been very busy lately, so I haven't been able to get that many videos out. I'm going to try and get another one out right away, because there's more to cover, and I'm getting kind of far behind. So, until next time, we'll see you guys later, and watch out for the North Korean missiles. This is still one of the highest selling buttons for Pink Barrio. This one right here sells quite a bit, and it'll be on Pink Barrio near the on the blog page near this video. But I wanted to show it to you because you can customize this to either have numbers or names. You can customize this for your own name. You can even take Pink Barrio off, so you do it right here, and just fill out these to whatever you want, and then that'll change that and that. Nice looking button. This is a honeybee in the middle of the rain. I've never seen them come out in the rain before. I didn't even know they could fly when they were wet. And there's all this dew. Oh, they can fly. Look at that. Where is he? There he is.